We have been doing everything from residential to commercial development up and down the East Coast. This is a project and a type of project that in the last 3 or 4 years we have really started to gear into and take all of our expertise and pour into housing around the state of South Carolina. So you'll see either blue line development or 4-6 housing on everything we do.
We don't come into a community and tell you what you need. We meet with your officials, your planning department, your city government, your county government, and we find out what is missing in that community to capture that workforce. What can they afford? So that is how we come about and do these projects. We're not going to tell you what you need. We look at the data that your county has gathered, and they tell us what they need. So we're at step 1, and in order to even study this, we have to have the ability to have multifamily on that site. Hence the amendment to the current plan development zoning designation, which just gives us the opportunity to study feasibility and then start to build financing applications based on the fact that we could build that one day on the site. So we'll have to come back with a fully vetted design before we ever hit the ground and say, here you go, county, and all of you, what do you guys think about this? We intend to do a design charrette with all of you, which means we'll bring you in and let you tell us what you think about the design, and we'll change it based on that feedback. We invite that feedback. We want this to be something that is not impactful to you in a negative way and that looks and feels like it belongs.
So we are going to zoom all the way down and show you the people that live in this community and currently need housing, because that's the conclusion, and we'll get to that, of what this study showed. This first one is Georgetown to South Carolina. The missing middle that we talk about is everybody from the $15,000 a year up to $40,000 a year income person. When we talk missing middle, no, that's what we're talking about. That person living in the homes that were described by Keenan. And this is what it comes out to. Our missing middle equals about 2,800 renters right now are needed in this county. 2,800 of missing middle folks. Right now we have 17 projects in the county that only have 1,200 homes. So you're looking at, right now today, 1,600 homes are missing in this county. These are not residents that are moving in, that are moving out. These are residents who currently live in this county. We're missing 1,600 homes.
Does that mean those people live on the streets
now? So
now?
that does not mean they're on the streets.
No.
That means that they're current rentals and they're paying more than 30% of their monthly income towards rent. If you are paying more than 30% of your monthly income towards rent, you don't have a savings account. You don't have a rainy day fund. You are living paycheck to paycheck, and you are what we call rent burden. You can't ever move up. You can't cover little Johnny's leg when he breaks it at the hospital and there's an out-of-pocket. You can't cover any of that. You are rent burdened. You're paying out 50-60% of your monthly income towards just your housing costs. The rest of your stuff, you can't manage. So our parameters are that you cannot pay more than 30% of your monthly income towards rent. That's standard. We want to keep them under that so that way they can have those savings accounts.
So we are saying a general rule across the board is 30%. That is a number we did not make up. This is a number we are trying to fit people who make these incomes into housing across this county. Again, we're not the ones saying these numbers. They live here, and we're going to get into the central numbers.
We have the study.
So you're going to know.
The study.
So,
okay?
so let us continue to go through here. So yes, there will be other income that they are using to pay for the stuff you're talking about, a car, other things like that.
And by the way, they can take the kid to the hospital and they won't have to pay for it, okay?
This isn't the this isn't the meeting for all of that. Can we just listen?
Right.
Can we just listen,
yes.
please?
Other thing that I'd like to point out is that 55.8%, over half of the renters living in the central portion are rent burdened. That means, as we just talked about, they are paying more than 30%. So we start talking about how do you move up, how do you improve your community. These folks don't have any income to help improve their community because they're paying so much to live here. And this is across the United States. So this is not just in this community, but I just want to point that out because the 55.8% is the largest across your county.
Yeah.
What you want?
cut to the chase.
You're asking how we got here.
No.
That's the
No,
We
answer.
don't want to know how
That
you got
piece of
here. We
property.
want to know,
That
is
piece
this
of
HUD
Can we
funded?
explain how we
Is
got
it
Georgetown? It's
Section
an
8?
information
No. It's fine
All right.
in Georgetown.
Anyway.
Why
Is
that
it
piece of
HUD
property?
funded? Is it Section 8?
So
Who's making it
we're getting there. We're
affordable?
getting there.
And how
So
much
we
federal and
identified the
state
census
dollars
tract.
do you
Once you
get?
find a
I don't
census
need
tract
sales
in this line of business, we then have to go and find available property, one, that can support the amount of housing that we need, okay? So,
A lot of land.
so here's, I understand that, we're talking about in this census
And in
tract.
Georgetown
Okay,
County.
we're talking about this census tract. So then, we jump off of that and we look
I'm
at,
not
all right,
even
we
gonna
have
go.
to have a minimum of 40 units in this type of financing, a minimum, all right? So if we're looking at 40 units of housing and we look at density, then at that point, we're starting to look at, all right, we can't fit on a 1 or 2 acre piece of property, so we can't go down into the middle of the town. So you start to move out. We start to move along the major arterial road, which is 701. We will continue
Who
to.
is funding it?
Who is funding
Is this
this?
going to be Section 8?
It's a federal program called Low Income Housing Tax
Right.
Credit Program, Section
Yeah.
42 of the
Right.
Tax Credit Code.
We don't want it.
Established in 1986, and is the biggest tool we have for putting homes on the ground
Affirmatively
that people can
furthering
afford.
fair housing. I
That's
get it.
right.
This is not Section 8, to answer her
It's not
question.
Section
No,
This is
it's
not
not.
Section 8.
It's
202, 811?
No, it is not.
No, it's-
It is income-based housing.
Then
It
put
is
it on.
housing that is affordable, totally
There's a
different.
lot of
If you-
land in this
If you
county.
look at the list that we
Lot
just
of
had,
land in
get your
this county,
teachers.
sir.
So why aren't you looking for properties on the south end of Georgetown?
You know, I think it comes down to, guys, there's never going to be a perfect place.
Oh,
Really not.
come on.
I'll just
Come
go there and they'll be mad
Come
about it too. The primary, just to be really frank, this land is for sale.
Let me guess, you're gonna live next to Vallejo in Missoula, right? The project that you're doing out there?
It's called Bellagio, and
Whatever.
it is 200 homes that people
Yeah,
can
and
afford. in
you're
a
gonna
community
live
where it
right
is
next to that?
unaffordable. I would live right next
Yeah,
to it,
I'm sure you
absolutely.
Then I'll
There is
sell
not
you
enough-
my house here when you build that. How about
Great,
that?
that would be
And if
wonderful.
the hospital is so concerned about their employees, why doesn't each doctor and each board member offer to put a house for one of their workers in their own neighborhoods? In Polly's, in all over, in Mount Pleasant, anywhere. Why is it here? Because the hospital is selling it. Let the hospital, they want rezoning. I think you're gonna have a hard time.
Own it and
Where does the
abandon
funding
it.
come
It's
from,
our
Tony?
project.
The funding is, we get a tax credit
There you
generated
go.
by the state of South Carolina, of
No,
which
that's
we
not.
sell to a corporation. That is how it's done.
Funding comes from the tax base,
No,
correct?
We're funded with the tax credits and we can flip those bricks
Yes.
to build
You're
the
selling
project.
the, you're
We
actually
have
selling it
debt
to
on
someone
this, we
else.
have permanent financing, we have
The corporate
construction
people are the ones
Tax
paying
financing.
credits that you're
all of
getting,
that.
and that's the way you're
I have a
making money out of your business.
And you already paid the taxes for it.
Y'all don't make any money?
We,
No.
that is
Then what
we
the
do.
hell are you doing?
We don't make money through the tax credit. The tax credit is the instrument that finances it. It is not a way that we make money. The tax credit is not the way we make money, is what I'm saying. It is the
Let's talk
funding
about,
source.
Right? So we basically have time to get out,
So
right?
here's the deal. It really doesn't matter.
I mean, really?
It doesn't matter if you build
Really?
it or not. If they change the zoning to multifamily, low-income housing, that remains.
no, so let me correct you there. The designation will only be multifamily. It could be market rate, it could be any kind of product up there, and it could be whatever the hospital wants to entertain. If it's not us, it's gonna be someone else with some other kind of product or affordable. You're number 3 on the list. So, you know, I mean, it's gonna be something. It's a matter of.
But it doesn't
those
have to
people
be
gonna come
this.
Talk to you at step 1 and ask you for your feedback and address your concerns individually and give you my contact information? Probably not. That's okay, maybe they do. But are they gonna involve you in the design process and all that stuff? Maybe.
No.
But I'm telling you today that I'm going to. I'm gonna come back and talk to you. I'm gonna bring you a fully vetted design conceptual and say, what do you think about this? I promise you I'll do those steps.
You can.
And I'll engage you as much as you need to be engaged. I'll open that door. I've opened the door right now. I didn't have to do this. I did because I want to talk to you. I want to know what your concerns are.
Excuse me.
I want to try to mitigate.
Please let her
things.
finish. We have let y'all speak out of
I
it.
really want you all to understand it in step 1.
Oh,
It's so
really?
early.
You
I
let
don't
us
have
speak
to-
out?
You let us enough. Is
let
that
us.
right, Tony?
Here's
Let 'em
my
talk.
contact information. Here's
Just, let,
Tony's
just be
contact
quiet and let these
information.
people talk.
So I
people, just like
encourage
everybody
you
else.
all to reach out to us if you have specific questions that you couldn't be heard tonight. I am gonna do a Q&A. I'm a little nervous to do that because I feel like, you know, it is,
We won't hurt you.
I know. Yeah, I'm happy to address questions in an orderly way.
This is my concern because you kind of talked over this real quickly.
Sure.
And you're interchanging the words homes versus affordable. These are low-income homes. Okay? Rental. Okay? How many units?
90.
90. That means 90 apartments.
It means townhomes, quadplexes, duplexes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
90 total.
Total.
That's
With
correct.
an average within each dwelling apartment of 3 to 4, or could be 5 to 6 people residing.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
What
no.
is the average amount of persons in each dwelling?
So
So if
I
I have a
have- yeah.
one bedroom, what are you allowing? Because now you're
In a
under
one
federal
bedroom,
guidelines,
you know, yeah.
right, federal guidelines now stating how many people per unit dwelling
That's right.
home.
That is
So then you
1.5.
have, right.
One
So
per
what is the
bedroom. Per bedroom.
what is the calculation that you have come up with the total number of people based on the guidelines
Yep.
that can be stuck into these 90 units?
I can answer that honestly because I don't have that number
Well,
yet.
why is
because I'm
it
at
that you
step
don't
one.
have that? Because it's basic math.
No,
So
no,
you already
it is,
know
it is.
how many people could fit
Right.
into a 1 bedroom. You
Right.
already know how many could fit into 2 bedrooms,
I do,
3 bedrooms,
I do.
and 4 bedrooms.
But I don't have a unit configuration
unit
figured
Well,
out
why
yet.
don't you have that? Because this is not, listen, you've been around the block.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is not your first rodeo.
Sure.
So why don't you have those figures?
Because I'm at step one, and to be able to do all of that due diligence, I have to have
Oh,
the
well,
ability to
well,
build
you
there.
know that those are the questions when you
Sure,
come out
sure,
that
and
are
that's
asked.
why, you know,
Well, at step one, you need to have those figures. So
Well,
write that down,
well-
that we need that email
It's all
or
about
sent
the
to all of
zoning.
Right,
us.
but what
How
we
many
can tell
people,
you.
right, no,
It's-
wait a minute, I got a question for you. How many people will be in this?
how many people
right.
are gonna reside there,
That
yeah.
will determine how many cars,
absolutely.
that will determine the source, okay, the impact to the community.
That's right.
Whether it be the schooling and the impact
I agree,
to
yeah.
the actual
Yes.
plantation. So that's information you should have had, number one.
Okay.
Okay, because like I said, I don't think this is your first rodeo. Okay, so
I mean,
I don't know
I-
why you're surprised at the outcome of the crowd. This is not your first rodeo, okay, and I can tell that. Okay? Now, exactly right now, who owns these 16 acres?
The hospital.
The hospital.
Yes.
So now, once your plan is approved, and just going forward by the township, and then you come up with all your designs, who will own the 16 acres?
An entity that is formed
Associated with these
with that
companies.
development. And it will
And
be
who
owned
is that
by,
entity?
it will be owned by Blue Line Development
Okay.
and 4-6 Development.
Okay,
That will be the
and
partnership.
who will then be the managing operator for this 90 units?
So we have to use somebody who has managed LIHTC projects.
Right.
The one that has worked for us before is Intermark, and they manage them all over the state of South Carolina. So it will be a management company that is used to doing this.
And they will be on site if you're
Yes,
stating.
yes. They will be on site.
Yes, sir.
Yes, question, one of the things that impacts home ownership, values, prices, resale, things like that, is access to a neighborhood. Wedgefield right now is overtaxed, it's almost overwhelmed with the traffic in and out, and there's one way in and out. County governments, local governments are notoriously negligent in creating infrastructure to accommodate these things.
Right.
How are you guys, how can you expect the neighborhood to accept this or maybe support it or even tolerate it with the possibility that you're going to dump a lot more traffic on Wedgefield? There's 501 or 51 that comes right in there. If this is designated or designed to accommodate the central part of Georgetown, and we are right on the edge of central and northern, you know, who's going to pick up the tab for sitting in line here and for dumping your neighborhood onto Wedgefield as we try to get out, or then even as a realtor tries to bring somebody in to look at a home here in this neighborhood?
No, that's a very valid question, and to explain, you know, as we went through the timeline, part of our second step with the county would be to come back with a fully vetted application plan and everything. As part of that is a traffic study that will take into account everything you've just discussed. Everybody that comes up and down, and there's no if, when that comes back, we are held to what SCDOT requires us to do. We cannot get out of that. So if they say the turn lane needs to be put in, we're putting a turn lane in. If they say that a light needs to be put in, we're putting a light in. So we will have a traffic study done, and that will be our means to control the traffic.
Even if you put a traffic light out there, and that road that's coming out of Weehaw is coming right into Wedgefield, we are not only gonna be backed up, getting in and out, there's gonna be accidents on Wedgefield, because when we're coming home and coming in, you can't see those people, and those people coming out of Weehaw can't see us. Before, it was just 1 or 2 cars coming out of there, hardly ever, so there was no problem. So now we're gonna be coming into our community, and those cars are gonna be hindering us, all of us. We're gonna be having accidents like crazy. You're gonna have a light out there on 701, you're not gonna have a light right there at Weehaw.
My name is Jim Clark, and I've got a big stakeholder in this, much larger than I'd like to admit. Number one, you need to take Weehaw Plantation off of that. I'd appreciate it. You don't own that name, I do, okay? This is not a Weehaw Plantation development. Is that clear?
That's right.
Okay. Number two, do you own the property you intend to develop?
No, we did
Okay. Who owns it?
the hospital owns it.
Okay. So you've got an offer on it, is this correct?
We have a contract, we are under contract, and we are
I'm
committed to
not going to
do it.
disclose what's in that contract because I know it. I don't think that's appropriate.
Right.
But what I think is appropriate is that we all here are for and realize that we do need multifamily, low-income housing. We need it bad. But we don't need it where it's being proposed for a lot of different reasons. There's economics and there's ecology involved here. Neither one of you, and I'm pretty sure nobody else here has ever even walked on that property.
I've walked it.
Okay. Well, if you've walked it, then you've trespassed.
And that is not true, because we have clearance to do it per our contract with the hospital. It is
Okay,
part of
so
our
you were
contract.
on the hospital property, but you weren't on Weehaw property.
I would assume, I was on
There we go.
the
Okay.
hospital property.
Assumption is great, but, fact is great too. And I'm not belittling you. But the other thing that really concerns me is all these numbers and all these demographics are based on 180 degrees. We don't have 360 degrees. We got 180 degrees. The rest of it's out there in that bay and that ocean. So those figures are warped, absolutely warped. I talked to the people that did the study both, and they realized that, we hadn't thought about that. And I am all for it. I would help you find land. But what I can't understand is, why did you pick that piece of property? It's not even in the economic opportunity zone. Why would you not pick something in the economic opportunity zone when there's thousands of acres out there for sale?
So, and I will answer that again, how we get there is through the scoring that state housing provides. So if anybody wants to read the QAP, there is about 6 or 7 different points that score that then say this is the highest need.
It scored the highest because of where it's located, right off of 701. If that's the alley where most of these 12,000 people are coming there.
Okay. The other thing, this is a criticism of Tidelands, okay? I noticed on their wage scale there, Tidelands, one of the largest employers, is paying 30% less to their employees here than the state average. Well, guess what? If they paid them the state average,
Right.
people would be able to afford.
I would not disagree.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Most of the low-income houses, I understand, is located near a school, near the hospitals, or near shopping. This is not near a school. You have to walk to school, walk to the hospital, walk to shopping. But we do have low-income houses in Georgetown, right down the middle of Georgetown, built like a long time ago, and the school is right there, the hospital is right there. They can walk to school, walk to the hospital, walk everywhere they want to go. But out here, they have to walk everywhere. And the shopping, if they want to go to the grocery store, they have to walk. Maybe don't have transportation.
They will have cars. This is not Section 8 housing that you're thinking about. School buses will take the kids just like they do in every neighborhood. So there will be, you're not getting a high-rise in New York City where nobody has a car. And there will be cars out. We have, I mean, state housing makes us put 2 spots for every 1 home. I mean, so they're expecting multiple cars to be parked in each one of these homes. So these are the same people that are living here already. I mean, I didn't make up the numbers, but half of the people, households, are living in a situation where they can afford these same things. And I would say more or less than half of your people all have cars. So we're not changing that.
There is a lot of people don't have transportation though, and they walk everywhere, you know.
I would agree.
And that's
Number
what
2.
really needs it.
My name's Tom Olenichek, and my wife and I, Jennifer, we bought a lot on Francis Parker Road last year. And we've lived in Georgetown for 14 years. We own a piece of property on Brick Chimney Road right now. We have a mortgage on it. One thing I wanted to mention is our mortgage is less than what the $975 what you would be charging for rentals. So you can buy a house in Georgetown and have a own your own home cheaper than what you can rent one of your places. I really think the project that you're wanting to build outside over here on the Weehaw tract is not something that fits in with what we have here at Wedgefield. It's something out of character. It's going to change the community, and I don't think that's a good thing. I'm not saying that affordable housing isn't needed, but I would suggest that you all go back to Georgetown County and the Planning Commission and try to find a different site. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to single-family homes where people have a vested interest in the property, but to have these low-income renters come in right here, I know they need places to live, and I want them to have a nice place to live. But I don't think right outside of Wedgefield Plantation is the place where it needs to go.
Just 2 things, and I'll make this my last one. 2 things that